Han Solo, what's going on, brother? How are you? One nine three three. What's going on, everybody? How are you today? Let's see, pretty good. I'm doing well. Doing well. We have a nice day going, busy day. Peer B watching from Scotland and a CLA 45 owner. That's awesome. Thank you for watching all the way from Scotland. I appreciate the support. My dad had a CLA 45 right when they came out in model year 2020 or 2014. Very cool car. Really enjoyed driving it whenever I could. So a lot of people, it's interesting back then. Yusuf, what's going on, brother? Thank you for the hat and the mustache. I do think I look good in a cowboy hat and mustache, but I can't really grow one out quite like that, unfortunately. But interesting that back then the cries about four-cylinder engines were a lot quieter than they are now, right? I could be like a cowboy, live out in Montana on a ranch. So thank you. How's AMG Jared doing? Is he selling anything? He's doing his thing. He's selling a couple things here and there. Working on getting him to be a little bit more consistent. Danny, what's up, dog? How are you? And thanks to everyone who's hanging out with me today. Appreciate it. Let's make sure that we're got only 10 likes going in here. That ain't going to get it done. Let's hit the like button and on YouTube, the thumbs up button, right? That way we can get this party started. Get it going up in here. Dylan, hey, Doug, major fan of the content and the brand. Really appreciate how you operate your dealership and your team. Dylan, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for the kind words. It means a lot. And I'm glad that you're enjoying the content, most importantly. Kegs, what's going on? Sweet name. Who doesn't love Kegs? Disappointed with the C63 SE in the UK. Yeah, you know what? I think you hit it right on the head there, Peer B. I think that all Mercedes had to do was name it something else. If it wasn't the C63, then maybe people would have been more interested in it. Trent, we don't rip anybody off, but I appreciate you for asking.
I know.
James, what time is it there? UK watcher here. It is 5:30 here. OJ, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you for the finger heart. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. What is it in the UK? What are you, 5 hours ahead in the UK? Is it 10:30 p.m. there? 10:30 p.m. How much commission do you make on a Mercedes? Well, we don't pay traditional commissions, Trent, because one, we don't believe that salespeople have anything to do with the profit or not profit in a car deal. And we also don't want our salespeople to be pushing you into one car versus another. So there's some performance bonuses that they can hit for unit volume, but whether you buy a $5,000 used car or a $220,000 G-Wagon, it doesn't change how they get compensated. So I'm guessing by your laughter that you disagree. So any deals on Geely 53 coupes? Yeah, we have. There's deals on just about everything. The only things that there really aren't deals on, so to speak, would probably be GLC coupes and G63s or G-Wagons in general. Bradley, question please. What S-Class has no hybrid assist? Well, just the S580 or the S500 would be non-hybrid. Now, all of our cars are mild hybrids at this point, which means that they just have a small electric engine that helps with starting, basically, but it's not a traditional hybrid in the way you're thinking of. No, they don't. They get paid a per unit amount, right? So, but the reason that I say it's a non-traditional commission is that they, the profit or loss in the deal doesn't affect what that amount is, right? So the idea being that, if they sell our oldest car in inventory and the dealership loses money to sell it, they shouldn't be penalized for that, right? They shouldn't be getting paid a minimum commission because the dealership mishandled a piece of inventory. No different than being paid a huge commission on a G63, which takes no effort to sell, right? Do you go out and take turns on customers, or no, I don't really. I mean, I'll go out and talk to clients if it makes sense to do that, right? And I'll get out and about and get into offices and see if I can help where I can. But my day, a lot is coming to me throughout the day. So, and again, we want to encourage our sales team to be as independent as possible and get our help when they need it. So Jamie starts in Toyota sales tomorrow. It's my first day. Congratulations to you. That's very exciting. Jordan and Trent, are you two buddies? I did start as a salesperson. Yes, I was in car sales for over 5 years before getting my first opportunity to be a manager. Which drives better to you, the GLE 450 or the 450E? I guess it depends on what you define as better. I mean, the 450, regular is a 6-cylinder. The 450E is a 4-cylinder. Hold, please. Yo, what's going on? What car? Which one? Okay. Mm-hmm. No, it was probably just one of the loaners that we weren't using these as loaners. Like it was a CV. This was the end of the year, get extra EQ punches. Mm-hmm. Correct. No. I mean, it had to go into CVP status. So, I mean, I know what you're asking, but technically it is, but oh, well, it should be, I guess actually it probably is pulling. Yeah, it's not actually, that's just for online purposes. Got it. Yeah, I didn't realize this one technically would be a new car. Yeah, this one technically would be. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry for the confusion. Is the deal done already? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, just let me know the information and okay. All right, perfect. Thanks, buddy. All right, bye. All right. Dan, would you consider buying an MB factory repurchase? It seems many repurchases are the result of buyer's remorse and not real problems. Dan, it really just depends on what it is. It really depends on what the repurchase is. There are a few cases where sometimes a repurchase will not be much of an issue at all, but that's not always the case. So you do want to look into it a little bit. So during the COVID era, they were a little bit more lenient on that because of some of the cars built without microchips, et cetera. So I have to have a shoulder rest. How do you do it? Yeah, that's a good question. I honestly, I take most of my calls through my cell phone. Even I have an app that routes the call through the desk phone. So, but that particular time it came through the desk line. So, what's next for you career wise? I mean, just planning on doing this right until otherwise. I've been in the car business for coming up on 15 years now, right? So obviously social media has given me a nice new wrinkle to interact with everybody and to make content, which is fun for me. And it's been a really great way to, get the dealership exposure to clients that maybe otherwise would have never heard about us, which has been fun. So AP says, Doug, what is the greatest pre-incentive discount you recall ever giving on a new car? That's a good question. I mean, again, the pre-incentive discount is a hard question to answer because it depends on, the really big discounts that you have seen generally are going to include dealer cash of some kind, which is not customer facing money, but it isn't really coming out of the dealership's pocket. So it's not like a rebate, which has to be disclosed. So I'm sure a lot of those discounts you're seeing from those Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealers are probably including some dealer cash. So, yo, hello, hey. I don't remember speaking about this particular car. Yeah, this one just never got put actually into CBP. That's the thing. Or it never got, you know what I mean? We never sold it to ourselves, if that makes sense. So if you guys want to keep it, it's whatever. Just keep it. Not the end of the world. Yeah, it's fine. Just keep it. All right. Mm-hmm. Nope. Well, maybe, but I mean, just put it in there. Yeah, just put it in there, and if they've already been paid it, they'll take it out. Okay. All right. All right. Bye. All right. Sorry, everyone. Never wear a bow tie again, or never sell another car. Well, I guess I'd have to stop wearing bow ties. I mean, I wouldn't choose bow ties over car sales. Can you explain how the EV tax works with a lease? So pretty much nothing qualifies anymore for the tax credits. So they are just the way the law is written is that if you're leasing, the leasing company can capture that incentive and they pass it along in the form of a discount. So you're not actually doing anything with a tax credit on your end. You're just getting that $7,500 as a further discount on the car. So that's kind of the way it works. Does MB do stair-step incentive programs? Dan, very occasionally. Sometimes at the end of the year, they might do that. Our Lexus GM was grossing $500,000 a year. Wow, that's huge. What would you say are advantages, disadvantages working F&I versus regular sales? Well, F&I, you're capped to a degree, right? You're taking deals as they come to you. And in sales, you have the ability to build as big of a book of business as you want, right? So, Matthew, are you worried about tariffs? Not really. My assumption is that those will get worked out somehow, some way. So I can't control it, so I'm not really going to spend much time thinking about it. I think that the tariffs are probably just political rhetoric in order to negotiate other things that they want to negotiate. So, and if they happen, then we'll deal with it, right? And the manufacturer will do whatever they're going to do to help offset it. But it's just not really something that I spend a lot of time thinking about. So, is Brian no longer there? No, we don't have, Brian is not here. No. Tips on meetings, presentations, performances. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by the question, but have you heard the rumors of Jared thinking of going to work at BMW? No, but it wouldn't surprise me. How does your upper management feel about you and other sales guys doing social media to the extent that you do? I think that, they obviously, everything has to be done in such a way that it doesn't impact what you're doing at the dealership, right? And of course, you've also got to be mindful of the dealership's reputation and everything else. So I think that there have been some cases where maybe, they weren't thrilled with certain things, but overall, the awareness that it brings to the dealership is a good thing. And, I especially do what I can to be very mindful about, keeping the content kind of the behind the scenes so that it's more about, showing you what the conversations are like in the sales manager's office without, kind of revealing too much, if that makes sense. But What are the typical hours per week for your sales staff? So, Monday through Thursday, we're here. The sales team is 9 to 7, and then we're 9 to 5 Friday and Saturday. Everyone's got, Sunday off and then a day off during the week. Just had a guy walk in leasing a Range Rover say that he could get a G-Wagon cheaper. Yeah, probably not. But we don't have CDK. We are Reynolds. So we are a Reynolds store here. What is your split between new and used vehicle sales? So typically we're about a 65-35, new versus used. We're working on getting that closer to 1-to-1. So, and no, Dan, we don't do split deals here. Adam, love the video about the G63 and the 30K worth of damage. I remember the video you didn't want to send back to Mercedes. Have you ever had one that you did have to send back? Never a G-Wagon. There are plenty of cars that we send back, but the beauty of leasing a G-Wagon is that the residual is set so low and they held their value so well that it's almost impossible not to have equity at the end of one of those leases. And Charisse, yes, we do sell a lot of loaners. We do sell a lot of loaners. Kristen was in for an oil change. The LaFerrari, y'all have a sick. Yes, it is. It's beautiful. Jordan, we are Mercedes-Benz of North Olmsted. Highest monthly payment you have, or our Rolls-Royce store when we had it, that was north of 10K a month, which is crazy. So again, thank you to everyone who's hanging out. Please hit the like and the thumbs up button, all that good stuff. And if you're not following already or subscribed already, would love and appreciate a follow. So thank you for everybody's support. It means a lot to me. Thank you for hanging out today. What's the best deal you've given on a car? Vince, it's hard to, I wouldn't say that there's a best deal that I remember, but we're a volume store. We're very aggressive all the time. So our deals are generally very, very competitive. And I'm sure there's a demo deal, a loaner from some time in the past that was crazy, had been written down a million times, had a lot of miles on it, and was an amazing deal. But not one that, we've just sold so many cars over the years that I don't have one that jumps out at me. But so does MB lower G residual and leases just to make more money on them? To your point, G's hold their value way better. Yeah, AP, they do it because they can, right? You have to understand that when these leasing companies, when these manufacturers are putting together leases for cars, I wouldn't get too fixated on residual values, because they're either, in best case scenario, they're a guess at the future value. More realistically, or worst case scenario, they're completely arbitrary. Because if Mercedes knows that they need to be competitive on C300s because that's a high volume car in a very competitive segment up against, Audi A4s and BMW 3 Series and all the other cars that compete in that segment, and that they're going to lose a massive amount of money when those come back off of lease and they're worth far less than the residual value, then you make it up where you can, right? They know that G-Wagons don't need any incentive or reason for people to buy them at all. So why on earth would you, set a high residual and give a low lease rate on a car that people are tripping over themselves to buy, right? So those cars, the low supply, high demand cars, help to offset the losses for the lower demand, high supply cars. And no, Dan, we don't go to auction. We don't buy vehicles at auction. We rely on trade-ins, buying them from the service department, and purchasing them outright. Little Copper Creative, good afternoon. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, Toyotas are the most reliable car in the world. They set the standard. I would say that's probably a fair statement. Toyota definitely, I think, right now would get the torch for most reliable. So if G-Wagons have almost no depreciation, again, they're high because they can be. They're high because people will pay it, right? It's like anything in life. You adjust the price until somebody buys it. So, favorite car besides Mercedes? Number 2 for me would be Porsche. A lot of leasing companies also have residual insurance to cover those unpredictable situations. What do you mean by unpredictable situations? I'm guessing, are you saying they have insurance to protect against massive losses when the cars come back and they're worth far less? Good time. Hello. Like the videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming by and saying hi. Thank you to everybody for hitting the thumbs up and the like button, and for following and subscribing and all that good stuff. It means a lot to me. And Scotty, what's going on? I always love getting on these lives and answering everyone's questions, and hopefully this is a value add for all of you. And if I ever miss a question, I do apologize for that. Um, in Germany, what's the status hierarchy of brands? That's a good question. You'd probably have to ask a German person that, because I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that, um, I put Mercedes up against any brand, and I think they hold their own, but it's hard to say. I don't know. Fuad, no, for employee deals, we treat everybody the same on pricing. There's no advantage to being a GSM or a salesperson, right? We take care of our team all the same. I know y'all be happy when somebody say they're paying all cash. Yeah, I mean, honestly, of course, our finance department makes a living based on referrals from banks, et cetera. But we aren't going to stop a deal from happening or be upset about somebody paying cash, right? We're not going to. I mean, I personally don't understand why anybody would pay cash for a car, but that's a different topic entirely. And if you know, I've not been to Stuttgart yet. No, I have not. So, and Hater, I don't do any of, we don't do any of the underwriting here, but I can tell you that when it looks, for car loans, and I talk a lot about this, there's a lot more that goes into it than just credit score. That's actually a very small piece of it. They really are looking at the full credit profile, your debt to income, your payment history. So payment history on installment loans is a huge one. And the absence of, charge-offs or bankruptcies or other collections, that kind of thing, right? And Joe, yes, I do like the electric cars more than I thought I would. So I've been driving an EQS 450 SUV for about 3 years now. And I just started driving one to check them out and get familiar with them when they came out. And as a daily driver, I personally I can't justify going back to any other car because they're incredibly smooth and quiet, and they're just a joy to drive. I mean, they don't sound cool, but as a daily driver, hard to beat. So how hard is it to find a dealership like yours to work in? Good environment or more bad than good? I mean, it's, that's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, dealerships in general still are tough, right? I mean, a lot of dealerships are still playing games with customers, but that doesn't mean that people don't like working there. I mean, again, it could be a dealership that from a consumer perspective is a bad place to be, but the people that are working there might love it, right? So how long do you need the financing open so you don't get charged back? So the general rule of thumb is 6 months. Really, it's actually 6 payments need to be made technically. So there's kind of ways around that. But yeah, 6 months, generally speaking, to avoid a chargeback. Yeah, I mean, AP, I think cash is just a bad way to buy a car in general, just because cars they will depreciate, right? Unless we're talking about a collector car, cars depreciate. So sinking money into something that you get use out of and that will always be an expense and never an investment. I just can't wrap my head around it. I really can't. I learned about compounding interest way too early in my life to ever make sense of paying cash for a car. So how has the year started so far? I mean, so far, it's been, I would say, off to a good start. The programs have been very strong from Mercedes, which is encouraging. And it's always a little hard to tell because January and February are always the two most slow months just from a weather perspective and a consumer sentiment perspective. So it's always a little hard to get a gauge on how the year is going to go during these 2 months. But we've been steady, which is, all you can ask for. Why should I finance instead of buying outright cash? Best advice I can give you is just take whatever money that you have that you could turn into a car and put it into a compound interest calculator and just see what happens over time. And even if you're, to be able to pay cash for a car, that means that you have to currently have that cash available. And once that cash is turned into a car, it can no longer be invested in something that can grow, like real estate or the stock market, whatever. And it's, what I would tell you is that if you've got a big chunk of money, make sure it's invested into something safe and reasonable, let it grow over time, and then you can take your future earnings and make the car payment. And yeah, you're going to pay interest, but that interest isn't going to cost you more in the short term than you'll lose in the long term by not having your money invested. So again, this is not meant to be financial advice. That's just the way that I look at it. So SFL Spotter, hello, how are you? Yeah, if you can afford to pay cash, just pay cash. Again, everybody's got their own way of looking at it. I just personally, I can't get behind that logic. It's just lighting money on fire is the way I look at that. So yeah, buy what appreciates and lease what depreciates. Exactly right. So I think that sometimes people look at cars in the same way as they do real estate, where they make the argument that buying makes sense and leasing doesn't. But even if you are buying a car, put it to you this way: the average American keeps a car for about 3 years, no matter how they pay for it, whether they pay cash, whether they lease, whether they finance it. And there is no outsmarting the depreciation of a car. It's going to happen. So, and if you buy a used car, you might pay less, but it still depreciates. You'll have higher service costs. So there's just no beating it. But if you're familiar with the concept of opportunity cost, and there's no such thing as a free lunch, what it really means is that, if I go out to lunch with somebody and I'm there for 2 hours, I might not pay for the lunch, right? I might not be paying interest, but that's 2 hours that I can't do anything else, right? I can't be working. I can't be growing my business. I can't be selling cars. I can't do any of that. Okay. Car ownership is the same way in my eyes. If I pay cash for a car, now that cash is not available to do other things. And it's instead been turned into something that becomes less valuable every day. So that to me is just not an attractive proposition. See, I disagree with you. I've looked at this every way you can look at it. There's no argument you can make that will change my mind on this. So again, you're suggesting that parting with cash and turning into a depreciating asset is somehow smarter than borrowing money on it. Now, again, everything has to be done responsibly. I'm not suggesting that people go into debt for things that they can't afford to repay. Obviously, you have to have an income coming in that can afford to make those future payments. But, the average rate of return in the market over the history of the stock market is about 10%. And that compounds if it's invested. You will never pay more in interest in a simple interest loan than you will lose, by having invested money. So anyway, that's the last we're going to talk about it, because again, this is not meant to be financial advice. That's just my personal take on this. So financing a 24 Outlander Sport, paying $34,000 after giving a $20K trade-in. How do I get out? Well, again, the only way out is always going to be to take whatever equity position you have and put it into a new car. So I would recommend to everybody that if you can keep a car for at least 2 to 3 years, that's going to soften the blow and you'll get past the biggest initial depreciation. So when you get out of cars super fast, in less than a year, that's when it really, really hurts.
It's stupid how expensive this is. The S500 is how bad that is.
Yeah.
For an extra $300, he could be in the 580, but they said they don't need the VA.
Okay. Look, I mean, $300 is still $300. We only even have one 500, right?
Yeah.
Black on black one.
Luxury one.
Do we do many out-of-state deals? Yes, we do lots of them. Probably 50% of our business is out of state, and 60% of our business is remote. Which is in-state people that don't even bother coming in. Turnaround time on a custom AMG, that's just going to depend on the model and where we fall in the production cycle. So on a short end, it could be, maybe 6 weeks, or it might be more like 3 months. Just depends. Yes, Aspen, I appreciate you clarifying that. I'm not providing financial advice. That is not what I'm here to do. That's just the question comes up so regularly that I just give my 2 cents on it, right? Which is, this is just free, unsolicited advice. If people are not familiar with investing in general, I think it is a very worthwhile endeavor to learn as much as you can about it, because putting your money to work for you is the best thing you can do. I mean, the earlier you start, the better off you'll be. Jay Fletcher, is it worth it to custom build a Geely or just grab one off the lot? Any incentive? Yeah, so I mean, the incentive is that you might be able to get a better deal because it's in stock and dealers want to get money off their floor plan. It really just comes down to how particular you are. If you're pretty agreeable and flexible, you'll probably be able to find what you want without having to wait for it. Sometimes people want a very, very specific build in a specific car, and in that case, the only way to get it might be to custom build it. Gregory, the finance office, right? We do an introduction via phone. The sales team hands over that way, and then the finance department calls them and reviews everything with them. So this is just the way that we've always done it. We've always been a high volume store that does a lot of out-of-state business. So it's part of our process. We're very used to it. And the finance team is very familiar with it. And again, most people nowadays would like to avoid going into the car dealership if they absolutely can, right? So it's nothing new for us. So no conquest program right now for BMW. I've been with the brand for almost 14 years, AP, and there's only 1 or 2 times that I can remember there being a conquest program. So they really don't focus on conquest ever. It is crazy that you can buy a car without coming into the dealership, but it's a very normal thing for a lot of people. A lot of people do that now. So for me, thank you for the heart. I appreciate that. Thank you for everyone hanging out. Make sure you're hitting the like button, and that way we can get more people in here to have some more fun. Or if you're on YouTube, the thumbs up button. I appreciate if everyone hits the thumbs up and the like. And if you're not following or subscribed already, please do so. I humbly ask for that, and I appreciate everybody's support. And yes, I do have 2 kids, and it is tough. I mean, I've been in retail automotive my entire working life, so I've gotten used to it, but that doesn't make it any easier on my wife and my kids. I mean, I get home late, 3 days a week, and that's tough. Dre, thank you for the roses. I appreciate you. But one of the things that it does give me is that because the dealership, maybe related to a lot of other industries, because our day does start at 9, it does give me time in the morning that I have with the family that maybe a lot of other people that have to get to work super early wouldn't have. So, I get to do breakfast and I get up early and make sure I get the kids up early and cook them breakfast. And I really enjoy doing that. So there's trade-offs, but, and having a day off in the middle of the week is always nice because you don't feel obligated to make big plans like it's a weekend. And sometimes you can just kind of have that time with the family. Only hitch without estate sales is the title and reg can take a while, especially on used cars. Yeah, Dan, that is the truth. That's why we've really, in the last couple months, honed in our out-of-state registration process just to get that super dialed in to prevent, we did it very well most of the time, but every now and then we'd have some snags. So we started working with Dealer DMV, which so far has been a wonderful partnership. If anybody here is in the dealership world and has issues with the out-of-state deals, I would highly recommend them. The GOAT should not have left Cleveland. He's back in Cleveland, but yeah, that's definitely he jumped at an opportunity and it didn't work out the way he wanted. But sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you have to take that risk. So, from your sales, does the economy feel like it's slowing down? It's hard to tell, right? Some days it feels like it is. Some days it feels like it's not. Right? It's just tough. How do I talk normally? This sounds like corporate jargon. What do you mean? How do I talk normally? How would you like me to talk? Any incentives on GLS 450 right now? 25s have $1,000 incentive. And if you can find a 2024 laying around, there's a $5,000 incentive on that. So Dan wants to go back into car sales once my kids are fully grown. Yeah, there are a lot of people that, gave the industry a try and then maybe left because they couldn't make it work with their family life. And that would probably have been me if I hadn't gotten into this business right out of college. He wants me to let loose, I guess. Yeah, for real. Picking up a new lease tomorrow besides weather mats, any good freebies to push for? I mean, I don't know what dealership you're working with, but it doesn't hurt to just ask for free stuff and see what they say, right? Worst they can say is no. I'm just not sure what you mean by give it a try for the chat. What do you want me to? How do you want me to speak casually? This is just kind of who I am. I'm not sure. Second channel idea, beers and bow ties. Yeah, there you go. When the bow tie comes off, watch out. There you go. Yeah, you get me out. You get me out to the bars after hours, right? You get a slightly more relaxed version of me. But again, when you're in here and you've got people lobbing questions at you left and right about automotive related things and Mercedes-Benz related things, it's hard to not just do anything other than answer all of that, right? When I do this, I feel an obligation to get to as many questions as I possibly can. So I kind of have to get in the zone to do that. But anyone else in the dealership wear a bow tie? Just me. Every now and then, somebody might wear one for fun, but pretty uncommonly. Having a negative equity balance, how long to keep rid of it? Let me read that again. Sorry. Having negative equity, is there a balance to how long to keep it before getting rid of it for a lease? So Mitch, it just is going to come down to, you kind of have to track how the value of your car is moving with your balance. So if so what I would say to that is that every couple months, look at what your vehicle is worth versus what your payoff is, and see if they are getting closer together or if they're spreading apart. And if they're getting closer together, then you might want to wait it out until you get to a certain number. If they're moving further apart, then either you need to start paying more, or you need to figure out a solution right away. So, and by the way, that reminds me that anybody, if you go to my link tree, which is in my bio, if you go to the links in my bio, one of the links on there is a cool website that I had made for me that you all can use. You just go there. It'll give you an instant value on the car that you own currently, right? So you can get an instant value, kind of like going to Carvana, right? But the nice thing about it is that you don't have to call a dealership. You don't have to one from a dealership. And it'll give you an idea of what your car's worth currently. And then you can sign up for a monthly email that'll come, from me with an updated value on your car. So it's just a nice, easy way to get a monthly automatic email that tells you what your car roughly is worth. And so, I think it doesn't hurt, right? Just having that information. And then also from in there, we got it set up so that with just a couple clicks, you can also make sure you're not overpaying on car insurance, which is very near and dear to me, because I found out the hard way a few years ago that I was wildly overpaying on car insurance because I never shopped it. So I encourage everyone in here at least once a year, make sure that you just aren't overpaying on car insurance. So that is just my little plug for that, because I think that those two things they're valuable information to have, right? So check it out if you haven't already. Do you have to drink heavily after work to do it, Jared? I think, Jared, I kind of just tune out the nonsense mostly by now, right? You just kind of get used to it. How do you overcome getting GAP cheaper through car insurance? I mean, if you can get it cheaper, then get it, right? But if you lease a Mercedes, GAP is included, right? So you don't even have to buy it. Looking at possibly getting a Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe. Thoughts on the car? Are you looking at the 2-door coupe or the 4-door? Either way, I'm a big fan. I think they're two of the most beautiful cars that we make. But yeah, I'm a fan. That dealership has a fixed bonus after every sale instead of a commission percentage. I don't know if you're asking about my dealership, but yeah, it's just a per car amount that the sales team makes when they sell a car, right? So the benefit to the consumer is that it does not matter what you buy, and it doesn't matter how expensive it is, and if the dealership made money or lost money. The idea is that we want to make sure you get the right car for you, and I don't ever want my salespeople talking to you in such a way that they're trying to push you to one car versus another because it pays them more, right? That's what happens a lot in traditional car dealership settings with traditional pay plans. I know it because I've seen it myself. And other people that work for dealerships will come in here and literally say it out loud. But if you don't, that's a great question. When you go into a car dealership, I would ask them, how are you compensated as a salesperson? Are you paid a commission, or are you paid like a unit bonus? Because if they're paid traditional commission, then believe you me, they are going to be interested in selling you a car that has a healthy profit margin. And that is what we wanted to eliminate. That's why we went to this particular system. Mari, thank you for moderating. I appreciate you as always. Thank you for stopping by and helping to get people out of here that are here to just stir things up. Dan, when the store hits a CSI goal for the year, is it awarded a status? If so, what is it called? So Dan, so Mercedes has a best of the best award, which they give out to the top 50 dealers every year in the country. And CSI is a big part of it. There's a lot of different criteria though. They, new car sales volume, used car sales volume, service performance, parts performance, CSI, all these metrics. And then the top 50 dealers in the country get that award at the end of the year. It's called Best of the Best. Mercedes-Benz North Olmsted, we've won that award 16 times since 2005. So I think all but 3 years since then. So, we really, you've got to be focused across the board to get that award. Go ahead.
How many am I allowed?
How many do you need?
How many can I have?
I asked you, how many do you need? Why do you always answer questions with other
I'm
questions?
training to be a president of the United States.
Will you
Yeah.
answer my question that I've been asking you for 2 hours?
What do you need?
The
What have you been asking me for 2 hours?
Did I get shipping?
the hurricane.
Oh, that's a good question.
I need to
There's
know.
no clarification on it. I don't think that there's nothing that indicates that that's an actual incentive.
I bet they did it at
So-
the end of the year.
What?
They probably did it at the end of the year for the write-off.
Yeah, notice how in there's no date range.
Well, so
For that.
that's exactly why we should let it go through.
We have no choice in the matter.
Fine. So should I just tell him it's a no? Because I don't want him to wait for a million years, and it's time kills.
I would just tell him that we are still waiting for official confirmation, but there's nothing on our end that indicates that program is still in effect. The last mention of it in official sales program said that it expired on January 2nd. I wish we had it. It's a Mercedes-Benz financial incentive. It's not, we have nothing to do with it. It's actually a rebate. And we don't, this looks awfully familiar. Where'd you get
This
this?
is my pen.
Okay.
Don't even.
Sure.
It is not gave it to me. It's special.
Okay.
There's a curb rim.
Could you go into more detail about the Toyota new versus used market? Yes, Spencer, I'm very passionate about this. Again, I don't understand why anybody would ever buy a used Toyota unless it is like super, super, super used. Because used Toyotas, and look, give credit to Toyota, those cars barely depreciate. And a lot of times I will see people paying either the same money for a new Toyota or like a couple of $1,000s less for a 3-year-old car with 20,000 miles. It's a waste of money, right? Mathematically, it's just not smart. Just pay a little bit more, get a new one. I mean, they hold their value extremely well. I think that the used car market for Toyota is propped up by people that aren't doing their research and comparing to the price of new ones. So it's just, well, again, Dan, the thing is that if there is a big enough price gap between new and used, absolutely. But I oftentimes will appraise a couple-year-old Toyota and I will be so shocked by the value, which obviously speaks very highly to the brand and their resale value. But what it indicates to me is that people are just wildly overpaying for the used Toyotas, right? Colin Fair, would you ever buy a used Toyota? Never. Why
Because
not?
you're going to pay probably within 3 to 5K of MSRP, if not above MSRP, for a certified pre-owned Toyota.
There you go.
And I drive,
So-
I've had multiple 4Runners.
Yeah.
And our friends up the road, not going to say, just sold. Remember I told you and Joe and Andrew, they sold a 2023 4Runner TRD Pro.
Yeah.
With 15,000 miles certified for 10 grand above sticker used.
Yeah. So, and TRD Pros might be a little bit of, a bad example, but I'll say
But I
this.
mean, Camrys.
Colin just walked into the office. He had no idea what this conversation was about. And I simply asked him, would you ever buy a used Toyota?
No.
And the answer is no way. I mean, they're too expensive.
They're too expensive. They're too short supply.
I'm just saying, for a couple more grand, get a brand new one.
New Camry.
Get a brand new one.
Yeah.
Right?
They have a couple, like my dad's been actually in the market for a new car, and they
Yeah.
have a couple pre-owned Camrys.
Yeah.
Seats, nice cars, whatever.
Yep.
Heated seats, sunroof. but they're within $3,000 of what it was brand new in 2022. And they have 25,000 miles on it. It's just like, this doesn't make sense. Just get the new Camry for the extra for 31 grand and call it a day.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, used Toyotas do not make sense.
Shane, what's going up? The Shane train is here. What's going on, brother?
I don't think used Lexuses make sense either.
Some do. Some Lexuses don't hold their value super well.
I think
But,
Toyota's really the main one that doesn't make sense to buy pre-owned.
and honestly, again, good for Toyota. They have amazing resale value. They're super reliable, but it just
They
is one of
don't
those
build
situations.
Cars unless
Yeah.
they have every component.
Now, on the other end of that spectrum, with luxury cars, the reason that they comparatively depreciate so much is because the luxury car buyer, because it's a luxury good, is much more willing to spend up for brand new. And that pushes the market down on the used car value. So I say this all the time, that it's not that Mercedes-Benzes don't hold their value well. It's just that the person buying it either wants what they want and they want it brand new, or they want a crazy deal. There's no in between, right? The prospect of somebody coming in to buy a used Mercedes for only a few $1,000s less than a new one, they would never do it. So the market is set by the people that are buying the product, and that's the Toyota market. I think the used Toyota market has just always been super inflated, and I think it's
Look at what 1990s, early 2000s Land Cruisers are going for.
right.
With 150,000 miles, those cars are still going for 30 to 35 grand.
But I believe that really where the issue is the way people were raised, what they were taught when they were young, and what they or makes sense to themselves when they're shopping for cars. So some people have made up their mind, for example, that they would never lease because they were taught when they were young not to do that. So they never consider it, even if it makes sense for them. Or they were told only ever buy a used car. And for that reason, they never consider a new one. They never actually do they never do the comparison to say, should I spend another $3,000 and just get a new one? Right? If they did that comparison, they probably wouldn't buy the used car. But you would be, I'm sure a lot of you know this, but it's psychology of why people do what they do fascinates me almost as much as the car business itself. And I have learned that there is no logical explanation for a lot of the decision making that occurs in the world, right? People do things that they don't necessarily even understand themselves.
I got to show you this page because it's unbelievable. This guy sells Land Cruisers.
Yeah.
Well, like pretty much only Toyota Land Cruisers.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
And
crazy
he
what
does.
they
He does Lexuses. He does. I'm gonna find this now.
German luxury cars have some manufacturer pricing manipulation due to heavy leasing incentives. Well, yeah, that's the other thing, Dan, is that when cars are leased in high amounts, that pushes the resale value down. And Shane, yes, the why is very important for sure. Do you think 1182 on a 2025 GLE 350 lease with 10K a year for 48 months is a good deal? Depends on what the MSRP of that car is. Seems like it might be a little high, but I don't know if you have a trade or what the MSRP is. Corbin, got your first hat trick today. Congratulations. That's awesome. People buy value and everyone's value is different. Absolutely, Shane. Right? There's no one size fits all approach. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Mari, thank you for the rose. Appreciate that.
21 Land Cruiser, 64,000 miles.
Yeah.
Sticker brand new was 84.
Yep.
He's selling it for 73.
And it's a 21
2021.
with how many miles?
84,000.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. That car's selling. It's
That's
10,
insane.
10 below sticker.
That's insane.
That's the last of the V8 5.7.
See, that makes my head hurt.
Yeah.
All right. To play devil's advocate, would you never take out a loan to invest into stocks, buy a car? Yeah, no, don't take out a loan to invest in stocks.
Acorns. The Acorn
But-
2021.
Yeah, but again, paying cash for a car you will never be able to talk me into the logic there, unless you're buying a LaFerrari or something collectible.
Endless money to spend.
Even then, it doesn't make sense. But at that point, it's like people are numb to the returns on investing, so I guess they just don't care anymore.
Don't tell that to our friends on Sherman's Road.
But again, if there are some people that have so much
supply.
money that they'll never even
face
have to think about
No. Well, they'll never be
investing.
able to be. You can't wire their brain differently now.
because they can't run out.
No.
They can't run out of money. So
The old mentality: if you can't,
Hey, go to your mom's desk right now, flip her screen, do some crazy shit.
no,
Why?
please don't. She's an individual.
She's not in the mood. She's over in Joe's office.
Why?
She's fucking having enough. I don't know, just for fun.
oh, I'm live right now. So when I finish in a couple minutes, I'll do it.
You're right. Like,
Yeah, right.
hey, now she's having fun.
Absolutely.
I adore the old 65 AMG models, but maintenance seems terrifying. Yeah, maintenance on a V12 is terrifying is a good word.
Spark plugs in a D service on Todd's old 65 was about $7,000.
There you go. Jay Willis, again, depends on how long. If you're going to keep a car for 6 years or longer, go ahead and buy it. Otherwise, you probably should be leasing. How much cash is in my pocket right now? 0. I don't carry cash.
Dude, everyone's got the ass kickers on today.
Well,
You and
it
Cabby.
was snowing out this morning, brother.
Does Nick Sulo still work up here? No, he
Nick
has,
Sulo.
Nick Sulo. Oh
Who
my
asked that?
gosh.
hasn't worked here in a long time.
Long time.
Brandon, I worked with Nick at Infinity, actually. Yeah,
I haven't heard that name in a while.
I know. I don't know what he's up to.
Daniel, for a first-time Mercedes-Benz buyer, I would recommend a C300 or a GLC would be a great way to start. Great introduction to the brand.
Depends on what I
And yes, lots of we have great deals on the C63s. So thank you everyone for hanging out today. We'll probably go another 10 minutes, hop off about 6:30 to finish up the day. But if you're not following already, please would love a follow or a subscribe on YouTube. And if you haven't hit the thumbs up button or the like button, please do that as well. Appreciate it very much. Do you like paying cash? I think you know the answer to that by now. I can't remember the last thing I paid for paid cash for. Crazy. When will the new V8 C63 be available? So I don't anticipate that the C63 will ever be a V8 again, but the CLE 63 should, in theory, be available within a couple months, I would hope. But again,
Guess I just got the phone with it and it's buying another car.
yeah, that was going to be my guess.
Yeah.
What now?
GLS Maybach.
Why?
That's why.
Which one?
We're with the red interior. It's crazy. And every time you're like, there's no way this deal gets done. But it's been 6 times. It'll just be the 6th one in a row.
Is it done already?
5th one.
Have we even put a structure together?
No. But he just called me. He was like, hey man, I got to get rid of this BMW. He's like, what do you got? Like a Maybach-esque with good discount. I'm like, technically all of them.
Yeah.
Some
people can't help themselves.
Yeah, this will be his 5th car in 6 months for me.
Wow. There you go. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Don't put a bunch of hands in my cars.
Oh boy.
Somebody asked about W218s. We don't get very many CLSs in on trade. So no, I have not seen a W218 AMG in quite some time. Mercedes V12 hybrid coming out. Who knows? We will see. 5th car in 6 months. Yeah, some people that are buying luxury cars just are in and out of them like they are, like they are clothes. I mean, it's crazy. But Jared has great energy, but it just seems like he never ever does due diligence, and you end up having to realign him or rein him in. Yeah, he just is. He gets excited, and he just kind of, doesn't always ask the questions he should be asking. And I get it. I mean, it doesn't come naturally to everybody. Some people, it really has to be forced and trained. And so I get it. There are some people that are very low energy and extremely thorough. So, there's always going to be a trade-off, right? There's always going to be a trade-off. Now, because Jared is a high energy person who's working deals all the time, he ends up in a lot of the content. And of course, I at least the goal is to post the more entertaining content. So sometimes that can make it look like there's a disproportionate number of deals where he doesn't know what's going on. But the reality of it is that the deals where everything is super easy and there's not much exciting to discuss, that doesn't really make for fun watching. So that's entirely possible. Cool, Kev. I probably have, 40 to 50 bow ties now. I don't buy them myself. Every bow tie that I have has been a gift, right? So in the earlier years, I would just ask for them for, birthdays and Christmas and whatever. And now the social media community has been nice enough to send me a steady supply of them. But it's kind of this fun thing where I don't pick out any of my own bow ties, right? They just get sent to me. Have you cut him off from his caffeine supply yet? No, I have not. I have not done that yet.
When are we going to time for dinner?
Passion with zero knowledge always trumps knowledge on ice. Yeah, I would agree. I've met a lot of really intelligent people that know everything about everything, and they can't sell anything to anyone. When are we going to win?
We need to go to dinner. Me, you, Carly.
Yeah, I know, but you keep picking a place that's like so far away. We will go.
Can we go to Berea? Go to Mike's? Am I going to a bar?
It's more doable.
Okay. I think you've been mad at me all day today. We haven't really talked.
I'm not mad at you, buddy. I promise. I don't know why you say that. I think the electric CLA is promising if they don't screw up the price. Yeah, I've been told that's starting under 50 grand. So that's going to be the new upcoming CLA with big range. That's going to be a really cool car. It's going to be, I'm very excited to see that. Colin is sensitive, Mari. He is. He's a sensitive guy. That's okay. But, sometimes he gets all twisted up and I'm not even really sure why.
You know how nice
What's going
this
on?
message was? She is just an angel.
Oh,
Look at that. It's made me love my job as messages like that.
yeah, buddy.
You
Well
still need to
deserved.
punch Carrie David's car.
I need the incentive.
I emailed it to you 3 days ago.
What?
I emailed it to you on Friday. Yep. See, this we get to look forward to, Brian.
Where?
I emailed it to you 3 days ago when you asked on Friday at 4:49. Friday. Go to your Friday emails. There's an attachment with it. Right there. Look at that.
Oh, it's a picture,
Uh-huh.
It's
And
not-
there's the number.
not an attachment.
Oh, you silly goose.
Okay,
Where have you been?
there you go.
I was gonna say, I'm like, dude, like I emailed this to you on Friday when I
Yeah,
was at
you-
home.
Yeah, you did. What kind of 20 GLA 45, 2015? If you,
Oh, those were the OG GLA 40.
yeah, 40,000 miles. I don't know, Colin, what do you think that would be worth if you had to guess?
20 to 25 door. Give us a VIN. I think I'm close, no?
It's a 2015,
Probably 15
Pretty
to
old. That's
20, 15 to 20.
at least a
Low
10-year-old car.
mileage.
Yeah.
Low mileage.
What's going on?
I'm just going to mention that I have access to the Nestor. So we need help with Reynolds and AccuTrade.
Okay.
Just pretty much you told me to tell you that.
Yes, Reynolds, we're waiting on more licenses for.
Okay.
So that might be a day or two.
Okay.
You won't need it right this second, but yeah, I'll get you an AccuTrade. I will get you set up an AccuTrade. So are you in already? Have you gotten your login, all that good stuff?
For Nestor and the Outlook, yes.
Okay, perfect.
But, yeah.
So have they shown you where to go for your training and to get certified and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll want to start knocking that out,
Okay.
get base certified.
Yeah.
And that way you can, that's kind of the official prerequisite to hit the ground running.
Okay.
So as soon as you have that done and as soon as you feel comfortable,
Okay.
right, we'll give you that opportunity if that's what, you feel like you're ready for.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, just a moment. Hello. What's up? Mm-hmm. Okay. That would be funny. I'd be down for that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm all for it. That's going to be great. We've got to film it. Okay. All right, perfect. Let's do it. All right, good deal. All right, bye. All right, everyone. I'm a little short on time now, so I'm gonna jet. But I appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. I really, really do. Thank you to everybody that is already a follower and that shows up for these lives every time. It means a lot to me. Hopefully, I just started doing these recently on YouTube, and I hope you're all enjoying. But again, thank you just so much. I love coming in here, answering questions, and thank you to all my new followers, all the new subscribers, all that good stuff. And we'll continue doing these, try to get live at least once a day. And yeah, so I really do appreciate it. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And thank you as always for hanging out.